IVM.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 34 of the Fighting G.O.A.T, where your host and host Somesh Superhuman Kamra and Arjun aka Don of Dubai Chipalkatti is here with us. So Chipalkatti is recording from overseas, our first overseas recording from Dubai. What's the climate out there? How have things been? You were jamming up with Amir Khan, boxer, and Bill Dosanjh. How has that been? But before all of that, we're going to be talking a lot more of Matrix Fight Night, Super Boxing League, the UFC coming to the Middle East. All of that after this short commercial break.
Hello, everybody. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcasting Network. On Advertising is Dead, Varun speaks to the co-founders of Deserve, Sahil Contractor, and Sandeep Jetwani about their business model, their experiences in the investment space, and how the consumer's point of view on money has evolved. On the Wire Talk, Siddharth's in conversation with Srinivas Kodali, an independent researcher and civic hacker, about Aadhaar. On Marathi Kirkitun, Dr. Rajiv and Manik Deshmukh pay homage to the late Ratnakar Matkari by exploring his literary journey. On KBCD, Farhad and Sunitro share their favorite queer icons. And on Cyrus Says, Anjala Taneja, head of advocacy at Oxfam India, talks to Cyrus about the disparities in vaccine distribution. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you enjoyed this show, or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. We appreciate the word of mouth. And finally, we'd like to thank the sponsors on our network this week: Cred, Bank of Baroda Quarter, CoinSwitch Kuber, Slay Coffee, Intel, and Kotak Mahindra Bank. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 34, 3 and 4 of the Fighting G.O.A.T. We have the overseas Mystic Chips with us and me as usual sitting in the Bombay ki garmi.
अरे यार तू टेंशन क्यों ले रहा है? मैं 2 दिन में वापस आ रहा हूँ यार.
मेरा तो एसी भी बंद है.
यहाँ एसी के बिना you can't live, no?
You can't,
because it's just,
can't live, you know.
I mean, I tried standing outside. I got full 2 years supply of vitamin D. 2 years supply instantly.
And you also tanned a little bit, and you also lost a lot of water weight. No, yeah, not really. You know, actually, you're looking fairer than ever.
Actually, because I'm sitting right in front of the light here now is because of the lack of pollution is so much clearer. The air is clearer, so the light, just like when you get that sunlight coming in, it's clear. It's like, is that white light?
Yeah, superb. But you know, did any of the people out there say hi handsome?
No, abhi tak to nahi. Have you seen the kind of people here there are? I'm surprised they said, hey bhai, kachra mat uta raho.
No. You know, you're looking sharper than ever. Man. You know, you've been working out, you're looking lean, you're looking mean. But man, there was so much that happened in this last month. In fact, we had Matrix Fight Night that was there in Dubai. We have Super Boxing League that was there in Dubai. And October 30th, we have the big event, UFC 267, which is there in Abu Dhabi.
So,
but, you know, tell me, how was the boxing event?
Oh man, I before I even get started in describing the events, we just want to let everybody know that after our next commercial break, we're going to be talking about primarily the market that is booming now. If you noticed, Somesh, that the trend has now started to move to the Middle East. It's not just, I met so many people there because of Amir Khan's crypto fight night. It attracted so many investors and so many businessmen.
Right.
I met guys from, the head of Dabur. I met some guys from Accenture. They were really, there are a lot of businessmen coming in and looking at sporting events. I mean, even the IPL was on here.
Correct.
And so there's something, there has to be something about what's happening here. And that trend is something that we're going to sit and discuss in detail a little later.
Well, absolutely. It could be governmental support. It could be all of that, because to be honest, the Middle East has always been a hotbed for combat sports.
Correct.
However, if
you have so many things together.
Exactly. The facilities are not there, but the governmental support are so intense that people are just landing from all over the world in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi to actually have sporting events. As you rightly said, the IPL was there, closest to India, easy to commute, no visa stress happening out there.
No stress.
But most of the combat sports are also happening. In fact, there were talks that Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury heavyweight bout was supposed to be there.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, a lot of these British fighters are, they find it easier to train. Firstly, they train at home in England, not the ones who train in North America. They find it easier to come to a place like Dubai because Dubai is now literally challenging Vegas in terms of businessmen and money. It's gotten to a point where the kind of crowd that we saw. So I'll start with talking about the Amir Khan crypto fight night, which was based around, there was a lot of negative publicity that was happening from the purist. Yeah, because of the, how purists are, no? They're all, the problem with all of us, like we are purists as well. So when, you're like, when we see the Jake Paul Triller fight night.
Right.
And we're like, oh shit, what a shit show,
Correct.
Like, what are they doing with boxing? But I realized that after these last two heavyweight fights that occurred with Joshua and Tyson Fury and Wilder, and I've realized that boxing's resurgence has begun. We talked about it in our previous episode.
Correct.
And we realized that if the world is changing, the world of sport is changing, and we're not getting money from traditional means anymore.
Right.
So when Amir Khan started the crypto fight night, he's launched this concept of getting crypto guys to trade off against each other. Now, I must remind everybody listening, guys, these guys are guys who sat behind chairs and mined cryptocurrency. But when I met them, these guys are not like that. They're like, yes, we work hard in our cryptocurrency world, but they were also athletes. The guys that came from the US, from England, they've been training boxing for years.
Right.
And yes, they may not have been at even an amateur level, but they put up a decent fight, dude.
Right.
Simple 1-2 combinations were being thrown around by these guys. And I was like, in my head, I'm thinking these guys are worth 100 million plus.
Wow.
Why do they need to do this? And that is where the novelty of the concept hit me.
No, but can you tell me that, or in fact, can you tell the viewers that why was it called Crypto Fight Night?
Exactly. So the thing is that the crypto community was, the Bill and Amir had planned this so intelligently because there was a big expo happening for cryptocurrency traders in Dubai. Just for that entire week. And they knew this was happening. And of course, they have their industry friends and contacts.
Right.
And they said they should capitalize on this venture because this fight night also was supported heavily by the cryptocurrency guys. And so they decided to keep a main event and a few fun fights underneath that were just crypto trading guys. Now, I was under the impression that these crypto guys would hire professional boxers to do it. But this was the fun part. They did it themselves. And it was... It was amazing to see because there were these two fights that took place with a guy called Ahmed and a guy called Adam. Adam was from the UK and Ahmed was from the Middle East. The support, Somesh, the support that these guys had was insane, and they had genuine animosity. Like you could have said at the veins, the trash that they were talking was so real, and it felt so. That entire spectacle, the entire drama was supported by a very, very solid card. Solid fights.
It's great because there was also this women's fight between Shivani Dahiya and Chandani Mehra.
Yes, and Chandani Mehra won,
which was quite good. It
was very good, and it just shows a platform like this is incredible for not only just the sport, but as an investor of tomorrow, entertainment like this is coming to a part of the world. Now, Dubai doesn't need entertainment as such because it already has anything.
Correct.
But Abu Dhabi government has been putting in so much of work and effort
to
get these events they pay these guys to host events in their country.
That's right. That's so crazy to see. In fact, a lot of people were telling me that, traditional means of investments is pretty much going obsolete, and now people are looking to invest in sports and properties and stuff like that. Like they're looking to park their money in sport IPs, like the IPL and like now, like Crypto Fight Night. So it's so interesting to actually see sports head in this direction where, of course there's betting and all these things that happen around the world.
Of course.
But the moment you start owning a team, you can start valuing that IP. And it's such an interesting route to take. So, man, kudos to this government for actually doing this.
Exactly. And, I can't wait to, we're going to be setting up episodes with guys like Amir Khan, 2-time WBC world champion.
Wow.
And, his manager, Bill Dosanjh, who's also the CEO of the Super Boxing League. It's unfortunate that we were trying to get him on today. But it's understandable, man. He's a busy guy. And, it's just been 2 days since the event finished. probably
Right.
has a lot of responsibilities and priorities to take care of. But he's open to the opportunity. And we've been talking about the fact that we want to do the business of fighting, a series with former fighting heads and CEOs. And, we've already spoken. We've made such headways with ONE FC. So, we're going to target every market in that sense.
Right. And in fact, it's so nice to have someone like Bill Dosanjh who would eventually come on to the Fighting GOAT, because he's the gentleman who actually took over Super Fight League from Raj Kundra and Sanjay Dutt to really make it what it is. And I think they were doing a fantastic job. It went to the US. It had a couple of series in India, and they were very, very successful. Before they kind of moved on to boxing, and now they're doing some great work in boxing.
And the fun thing is that I've heard a few. These are some inside information.
Yeah. You mean Andar Ki Baat?
Andar Ki Baat. It's time for Andar Ki Baat. There are so many Andar Ki Baats then to talk about in this entire sphere. Yeah. But we got to focus on also the week that was in the world of MMA.
Right.
And I think MMA had a little bit of a quiet week, and these were the cards. Sumesh, I think these were the cards that were made for TV, ESPN, right?
Yes.
Not pay-per-views.
Yes, they were. So we had Norma Dumont and Aspen Ladd, which was the last UFC event, which also had the 39th fight of Jim Miller, where he knocked out Eric Gonzalez.
Wow. So that was awesome, man. I love Jim Miller.
Everyone thought he's on his way out and stuff like that. And suddenly, boom, he comes with that knockout.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, the resurgence of some of these older guys
is crazy.
I don't know what is happening. Maybe there's something in the water there.
There's something in the water, Second round. It was in the second round. I remember I saw that one, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
It's always great to see an old veteran like Miller get a win. And Miller, by the way, he started off as he's a grappler. He's not that much of a striker.
Yeah.
But for him to do that, I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's crazy. It's really awesome.
So the week that was at least in the world of MMA was slightly thanda, because there was such banging boxing fights coming, and I'm sure you don't want to see. MMA is a rising sport and stuff, but honestly, when you have heavyweights come into the picture of boxing, it's a little difficult if you want to compete with that.
That's what I was saying. Is the minute we spoke about the allure of boxing, and the thing is, we've been to MMA events. Yeah. But when you see a live boxing event, there's just something about it.
Absolutely.
And it's like my boss was telling me, he's like, bro, take a look around. I'm like, why? He's like, because that entire section is worth $500 million.
Holy
And I was like, whoa. But
holy shit.
We're going to talk about...
Let us play the Squid Games with them.
We're going to play all sorts of games and all sorts of questions, but we got to come back after a quick commercial break, because you are listening to AKA Arjun, AKA Mystic Chips, AKA, what was the name you called me? The Dawn of Dubai? At least for the next 2 days, the Dawn of Dubai. And the superhuman Kamra himself, Somesh. After a quick commercial break, we'll be right back with more about the business of fighting in the Middle East. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
Season 3 of Echoes of India, your favorite history podcast, is back on the IVM Podcast Network. I'm your host, Anirudh Kanasetti. Join me on a journey through the wonders of early India as we explore the centuries between Buddha and Ashoka with critical research, empathy, and great storytelling. Along the way, you'll hear from all the vibrant peoples who shaped our world, from monks and farmers to warriors and emperors. New episodes are out every Monday.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 34 of the Fighting GOAT, where we just discussed the week that was, and we are focusing on something which is so close to our hearts, which is the business of MMA and boxing. And what's been going on has been absolutely crazy, because the world has descended on Dubai and the Middle East with such great sporting action, with obviously the IPL that just got over. Then we had MFN, which was on September 4th, which is Matrix Fight Night, the biggest Indian promotion. Then we had Super Boxing League, where Amir Khan and Bill Dosanjh got in a great card to Dubai. And October 30th is UFC in Abu Dhabi. Mystic Chips and me are going to be in the studio with a special 1 hour pre-show and a 30-minute post-show.
What? It's a 1 hour pre-show?
Yes. We're
1 hour. My God, that means you have to start at 6:30 in the morning. In
No.
the studio, push up at 3 baje.
Nahi, because it's 11:30 p.m. card. So
Really?
we are
Oh yes, it's the Middle East. Yes.
we are on prime time, 10:30 p.m. live on air. But
Oh my God.
before we get to that dhamaka, let us talk about the dhamaka which is happening in the Middle East, bro. You're
Yes,
right
sir.
there. You have witnessed the action. You've been a part of that mix. You've been in front of $500 million worth people. They are behind you. You know, mere piche 500 million ke log hai.
Exactly. But even metaphorically and realistically, they're literally getting behind us now. They're getting behind the offbeat sport. People are remembering what it's like to, see boxing in its glory days.
Yes.
When we used to see. So what Amir and Bill did were introduce 2 belts now into this entire thing. There was the WBC Middle Eastern Heavyweight Championship created. It was the inaugural belt, which goes to a fighter called Hemi Ahio from New Zealand. And this guy, oh my God, he was sporting 1988 Mike Tyson trunks, the all black trunks with boots.
Wow.
And he looked like a freaking stud, man. And he came in. And so I feel bad for his opponent, because his opponent was a guy called Muhammad Ali Bayat,
Right.
who was a cruiserweight going up in weight.
Okay.
Now, this is the thing with heavyweight in boxing. They can be any amount of weight. You can be weighing 300 and taking on somebody who's 240.
Correct.
And
so there's no upper limit.
There's no upper limit. So this guy, Muhammad Ali Bayat, weighed in at 94 or 95 kilos, and Ahio was 123.
Holy hell. Are you serious?
123 kilos. Now, that's a problem. No, when a cruiserweight, it's like Somesh, we've talked about weight classes for a reason so many times.
Right.
And we've got guys who are, when guys move up in weight or move down in weight, it's like when Izzy faced off against Jan Blachowicz. Now, Israel Adesanya is a natural middleweight.
Yes.
Whereas Jan is a natural light heavyweight.
Yes.
He doesn't have to cut a lot of weight to get to his weight class, and he doesn't have to.
But we saw the difference in power. We saw the difference in speed, and the moment Jan got on top of him, Izzy was trying to bridge as much as possible. But Izzy on his heaviest was 203 pounds.
Yes.
And Jan must have been at least 220.
Yeah, easy.
Jan
is huge. He's like 6'6", and he's easily 230 pounds.
Oh, like easily.
Easily. Aisa hi hua yaar. So when we saw that heavyweight match, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is happening, that's happening." I'm like, okay, don't make excuses for the guy who won the belt. He's just doing his job. You know the rules. Change the rules if you don't like the rules. And,
obviously.
And so he came in, and I have to say, the toughness of that other guy. His ear was cut. He had a cut on his head because of a headbutt. His nose was busted up. His eye was bleeding. He's bleeding out of his mouth. He still had no quit in him. The corner had to save him. They threw in the towel in the third round.
It just shows the heart of a fighter. I mean, kudos to Muhammad Ali Bayat. I mean, that was a great show. In fact, I saw it on YouTube, and I thought it was one of the best matches ever. And honestly, when you have 3 back-to-back events of great boxing, you just somehow feel the sport is coming back. And I really want boxing to have its glory days. Yes, it will take time. Maybe a couple of years. But guys, come on, just put your money behind this. Watch it on TV. Buy the subscription and just support the sport, because honestly, this is the future. This is where the real stuff lies.
And what was so amazingly awesome was that even some of the Indian boxers got wins against foreigners. There's a fighter called Sandeep Kumar who took on, ironically, an MMA fighter called Franco Black Mamba.
Yeah.
Franco Black Mamba, and Franco is a jiu-jitsu world champion.
Right.
And so at the weigh-ins, I was joking. I said, so if you get tagged, would you go grab a toe? Looking for a toe hold or a heel hook, and he just started laughing, and he's like, no, I'm making my debut in boxing. And I was like, okay. And I've seen Sandeep Kumar fight. This guy was legit. The footwork, the style, the boxers that are coming out of Haryana and Punjab are no lesser than the international variant.
Absolutely.
I will never pull punches and make excuses for how people fight, but I'm just saying is that some of our boys are right up there.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely,
just need better facilities, better training, and more importantly, once they get their minds right. They need to get their minds right.
I do believe Neeraj Goyat was also on this card.
Yeah, Neeraj was also fighting. He got a finish, though it was slightly controversial, though,
Oh yeah.
because he hit his opponent 2-3 times after he was on his knee. I'm like, I went to him in the post fight. I said, Neeraj, tu MMA खेलने गया क्या?
Oh god, yeah, but that was that was a good one. There was also a very interesting ladies fight where Chandani Mehra was taking
Yes.
on Shivani Dahiya, and that was a unanimous decision, I believe, in
Yeah,
favor
it
of
was.
Chandani Mehra. So, young fighter coming out of Delhi proved her point. Of course, she did get tagged a few times, but
Oh my God, it was
good prospect.
very good prospect and showed very good. It's very hard to get tagged in mid combination and keep throwing it still.
Right.
So it's one of the hardest things to do is when you're trying to throw your combinations, finish your combinations, and you're getting hit and you
Right.
still complete it. You see, the greatest person to do that is Max Holloway. He
Right,
will,
right.
You can keep hitting him and he still finishes combination.
Right.
And we saw that with these girls. And Shivani also, heart of a warrior, man. I'm seeing that, Sumesh, what we're seeing is a second generation fighters who are taking this seriously, who are
Man.
doing this for the money, the love of the sport. And the
Right.
girls came in such good shape, man. Such good shape.
But you know what's also happening? I do believe that this generation that is getting into the sport have good platforms that are paying them correctly. Like if this was 10 years back, they probably would have got like 10,000 rupees for a fight.
Exactly.
But, right now they're earning enough. There's insurance into the picture. They're getting their flight
Yeah.
tickets, hotels are paid for.
Yes.
The platform is absolutely correct. So I think it's such a good time to get into combat sports for all the youngsters out there who think, they want to make this into their livelihood. I think it's a perfect time to get into it.
Exactly. And I was talking to Amir about the SBL contracts with these
Yeah.
fighters. And he was telling me, he's like, bro, do you want me to do it in his voice? Because it'll be really fun.
Yeah.
Right. You have nothing to worry about. These fighters, they come in and they're trying to fight here. And we want to make sure we take care of them. And we make sure that they look good and they're taken care of. And, if they get hurt in training camps, we got insurance to cover that for them. I can't keep talking like that.
That was awesome.
I think that was more Bill Dosanjh than Amir Khan. But no, Bill is different. He's like, Arjun, I need you to make sure that you speak about this particularly well. I'm like, dude, chill. Can you speed up, bro? I love him, but he's going to talk faster, man. No, but the one point that I loved was that the organizations are now covering fighters just like the UFC does. They're covering fighters in training. So if you get injured while you're in a training camp leading up to the fight of that promotion, you will be covered, which was not there earlier.
Correct.
Which a lot of other organizations don't do.
But
they've started doing.
But maybe what's happening is that there are so many promotions coming out and all of them want the best fighter. So they're obviously upping their game to keep the fighters with them, because honestly, nothing holds the fighters beyond the 4 fights.
Correct.
And an organization does want to keep the fighters for at least 6-7 years because they build them up, they turn out to be stars, etc., etc.
Exactly.
Someone like a Mike Chandler who has moved organizations in his prime. In his prime, he has moved organizations and he's proved to be an absolute warrior. Whereas someone like Corey Anderson, who's moved from the UFC to Bellator, clearly says, listen, I'm earning way more in Bellator and I'm happier out here.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I think, fighting in the UFC, firstly, is damn tough. It's
Right.
to get there is tough. And then to survive is even tougher.
Absolutely.
And then to be part of the top 5 is
It's a whole, it's a whole new ball game. Absolutely agree.
The level of eliteness required to be in that position is something else. And that's the fun thing, that in boxing, though, we don't see that, because you can have an underdog champion come up and rise up the ranks because there are no organizations as such.
Correct.
I mean, the Super Boxing League is giving a great platform, but eventually these guys will branch out.
Yes.
Because now, or you sign a ridiculous amount of money with DAZN, like Canelo Alvarez has.
Right.
Where all his fights are only on DAZN.
Correct.
And he fights and he gets some insane amounts of money. So I think in the context of the Indian fighters coming to the Middle East and working here and moving here, it's like you rightfully said, man. It's all a fighter really wants is to be taken care of. He needs to focus on his craft, and that's it. The hotels, the stays, the money, everything else is being taken care of. And when you've got promoters who are taking care of you and not trying to screw you, that's when you get to see some real, some good things. You get to see them shine. And I'm loving the fact that they want to involve so many local people from here, as well as kids from India and from Pakistan and from. That's why I love about the Middle East is that it doesn't matter where you're. In India we always have this. We have oh, Pakistan is this, and we have a history with them, and rightfully so. But when you come to a neutral country like the Middle East, like a Dubai, nobody cares whether you're from Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, whatever. They just do your work and go.
Right. Absolutely. Once you're a new. See, the thing is that's the beauty about sports. It doesn't differentiate where you come from, what you do. It eventually comes down to the skill and the art. So it's just so good to see that. And speaking of what is good and what is not good, I'm so happy to really see MFN promoting talent like they've never done before. And to be honest, I've spoken to multiple people from MFN, and man, Ayesha Shroff has taken everything in her hand and she's doing a fabulous job. I am so happy that an organization like MFN could really come out of India.
Very true.
I do believe Krishna Shroff also is very heavily involved in this. And, so many of the fighters actually came to me and said, these guys actually called us and asked us if you're feeling okay, if everything is fine, before the fight, do they need something? And once the fight is over, they still call up and ask, are you okay? Do you need something? Is your health okay? Honestly, who does these things?
Exactly. And that's what we spoke about. This, I think it's the second generation for everybody.
Yes.
10 years ago, when the sport started in India, via the Super Fight League, etc. And now it's becoming SFL, SBL, Matrix 2.0. It's a second version of every aspect of the sport, the business aspect, the money aspect, the treatment of people aspect. All these things are changing now.
Very true. Very true. And honestly, there's been a history. There's been so much conversation about, how SFL dealt with the entire situation. But honestly, see, you cannot blame one person for this. It's not really possible to go down that route. It's just something which didn't go right and things just went downhill. But let's just speak on the positive. The positives is that SBL is back. Bill Dosanjh, Amir Khan are doing a fabulous job,
man. Amazing job.
Matrix Fight Night, man, kudos to them.
Absolutely. No.
They had the last card, I remember, on the 24th.
I think Sumit Khade, there was the news that Sumit Khade couldn't make weight for his fight with Dhruv Chaudhary.
So Sumit Khade made weight. So Sumit Khade actually missed weight. Dhruv Chaudhary accepted the fight. But, Sumit had some muscle spasms due to which the doctor did not give him clearance. And he could not fight, But
so sad, yeah.
Yeah, but in spite of that, I do remember that Ayesha Shroff spoke to him and said, listen, if you're not feeling fine, it's okay. We can do another one. So, I mean, honestly, you've spent money on this guy coming all the way over from India. He's staying in the hotel. It's technically in the balance sheet, it's an expense. But the management dealt with it so beautifully.
Exactly.
And especially, I would keep saying Ayesha Shroff because all these guys talk about her. Be it
I know. Ayesha ma'am. They keep doing this.
Even Krishna Shroff, she always is there in the mix with the guys, making sure everything is going well. So I'm just so glad that this bunch is upping their game and doing what they have to. See, because at the end of the day, someone like a Dana White does not know what happens below him. He just has one guy who he talks to, and that's technically a person who gives him the lowdown. He'll not know what the accountant does or what the coordinator does.
No chance.
So they don't even care. So I do believe that if there's a promoter out there, he needs to be involved in the business, at least in the initial stage, before they become a UFC or a Bellator.
True.
It kind of
it's
goes
like
into
any job,
autopilot.
Somesh.
Absolutely.
It's like any job. When you want to learn, when you want to run a business, you got to know कि यार वो factory का nut कहाँ fit होता है.
Exactly.
How to make your product. You have to sit on the shop floor and understand it with the karigars.
Absolutely.
And then you understand, go into your marketing and sales. And when you get bigger and bigger, your role becomes tighter and tighter. But that's the thing. Now, I think Indian promoters are also Indian Middle Eastern promoters in general are starting to understand that they have to begin at the grassroots.
Correct.
And they've understood that. And guys like Bill and company, Bill and Ahmed, in fact, he told me that he's actually opened up 10 of his gyms to find and cultivate talent in a region. And I said, wow, that is impressive. So basically, obviously, he must be working with the right people who want to promote the sport and the right investors who put in money to come in. But the fact that he's taking time off his own career of boxing
Yeah.
That he's still in his prime. He's not.
Yeah.
He's definitely in his prime. But the fact that he's taking on a very different role shows the commitment towards wanting to develop talent in a region.
Absolutely. Like kudos to these guys. In fact, they're setting the limits and the benchmark of how athletes, managers, promoters should
Yes.
behave, and
Yes.
if, of course, the world does not work on ifs and buts, but if this would have happened 10 years back, we would have seen at least a couple of UFC events in India. We would have seen one championship events in India. We may have had somebody in the top 5, at least in a one championship.
One is coming though.
One is coming. There's no doubt about that. Like Chhatri,
One is
we are
coming.
here. Chhatri, we are
Chatri,
here.
we are watching. Chatri, we are listening to you. We are watching. We are waiting, and all we're waiting for is give me a call. Give me 10 minutes notice, and we'll be there to talk to you. Or on the other hand, feel free to fly us down VIP style. For one of your events. But Fighting G.O.A.T would love to be partners with you.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. But speaking of that, it's just so glad to see all this happening around. It's never late. To be honest, it's never late. So Amir Khan, Bill Dosanjh, Ayesha Shroff, Krishna Shroff, guys, thank you from the entire team at Fighting G.O.A.T for doing what you are. For doing what you love doing, and man, you're doing something which is going to set the ball rolling for the future MMA fighters, for the future boxing fighters.
Absolutely.
And this is where the future begins.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, and very well put. But that being said, with all the things that are happening and moving forward, we ourselves must move forward too, because we've got a banger of a card coming up. And the next few weeks, we're going to be a lot of TV time for your hosts, Arjun Chipalkatti and Somesh Kamra, also the hosts of the Fighting G.O.A.T. And we've got a little surprise for you once we come back from this quick commercial break. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to episode 34 of the Fighting G.O.A.T.
Namaste, this is Cyrus Brocha. I am part of the government cancel culture program to remove rubbish off all the different streams available. So what we have is all the collected rubbish we put together on our show. It's called Cyrus Says. It's on IVM podcast. You have to watch it and listen to it. It's on our app. It's on our website. It's on the YouTube channel. It's on Facebook. There are many different ways. Don't bother me and ask me how. You have to find out. We talk to different personalities. Many of them are known. Some are just people we meet downstairs and invite them up for chai. But the point is, it's fun and it's very therapeutic. So please join in and listen to Cyrus Says.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the last segment, the saddest segment, because this is the end.
Why sad?
Because I hate leaving our listeners, and I hate leaving you, and I
Oh,
hate leaving the team, and I hate leaving all of these things.
I've only been gone 10 days. Yeah.
Oh God, पर मेरा दिल टूट गया है मिस्टर
मैं यहाँ शिफ्ट हो जाऊं तो क्या होगा यार?
ओहो, तो फिर हम सब शिफ्ट हो जाएंगे।
हम सब, वही तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ। I think the Fighting G.O.A.T needs to start shifting continents. But like I was saying, Somesh, that we might have a surprise where we might be, I mean, I'm not going to say anything big yet, but we might be looking at, we could be podcast partners with one of these promotions soon.
Absolutely. So the offer is on the table. Some negotiations are on. Talks
Yes,
are
sir.
happening. Our producers are doing a fabulous job out here. Everybody at the IVM office are rocking the boat. TFG, the Fighting G.O.A.T, is soon going to go international. Let's all cross our hands. But
Cross fingers, cross legs, papade, sab cross karo.
but speaking of Fafade, Vishal has absolutely loved the t-shirt that he got. The winner of last week's show.
Oh yes, he did.
Mr. Vishal, who has sent us a message, said, thank you so much for that t-shirt. And I absolutely love it. However, Vishal, please wear it.
Yeah, Vishal,
Tag us and show us how you look in it.
if you don't wear it and you don't tag us, we're going to come and take it back. Okay? We just are.
Or else just courier it back.
Or courier it back. No, Corona है ना, आसपास दिखने नहीं चाहिए. Or else don't talk to us.
Don't talk to us.
No, but it's been,
God.
thank you so much to the fans who have received the t-shirts. Thank you so much for all the love. And please wear them and tag us, because we want them to know that you are your own version of the Fighting G.O.A.T.
Absolutely.
Okay,
And
Mr. Kamra now.
speaking of their own version of the Fighting G.O.A.T, are two absolute banging middleweights who fought for the belt at one point of time versus the same opponent, Israel Adesanya. The main event of the next UFC card on Sunday is
What's it gonna be?
Paulo Costa versus the Italian stallion, Marvin
Oh.
Vittori.
Oh man, it's going to be so much fun. But the problem is now every time anybody says Paulo Costa, it's because of Israel Adesanya. The fact that he said he's like, you look like Ricky Martin, it's stuck in my head now. Every time I look at Paulo Costa, I'm like, shit, he really does. It's Paulo Costa. No, that's a compliment to him, man. Ricky Martin is so good looking, and so is Paulo Costa, man.
Yeah.
I just hope he stays away from the wine bottle for at least one more week.
Well, come on, he either has the wine or he wines. So
I don't know what he's doing, but I think both these guys are coming back to make a point. Vettori, who still believes that he didn't lose to the champion. Well, I guess, that's what happens. Don't leave it to the judges.
Absolutely.
And Costa, who lost, he lost much more prominently to the current champion, is looking to make his resurgence. And I hope he makes it.
Correct. We could not wait for this one. So the only fight that we are picking for this week is the main event of the evening in the middleweight division, which is 185 pounds, Paulo Costa and Marvin Vettori. So
what's it going to be?
Since you double up as Paulo Costa's body double, let us go for the pick. Who do you think, Paulo Costa or Marvin Vettori? The Brazilian or the Italian? Since you've been in Italy for 4 years,
I know.
Are you gonna have the little pasta brotherhood happen?
Stylistically, well, pasta brotherhood, but the other guy drinks wine also. So
That's beautiful.
No, but I think I'm gonna go with Marvin Vettori. He's grappling heavy. He's got a great chin, and he knows how to close distance. And the fact that that he and Izzy, even though he lost to Izzy, he wasn't bullied by Izzy. He wasn't.
Correct.
Costa got outstruck, bullied by Israel Adesanya. But you can't count out Paulo Costa, man. The guy's got dynamite in his fists.
Absolutely, yes.
In fact, knock you out.
Surprisingly, even I had my eyes on the Italian Stallion or the Italian Dream, whatever you want to call him.
Italian Dream.
Mystic Chips and Superhuman Kamra are going to have the same pick for the evening.
But I kind of want Costa to win.
Oh, no. I mean, people said that about Thiago Santos also.
I know, but no. Okay, I'm going to say I'm going to stick to my pick. I'm going to say Vettori. I'm going to say it's going to be Vettori.
I'm going to go with Marvin Vettori primarily because I feel he's the smarter fighter, and he's the one who doesn't showboat and all of that. I think he's going to be smarter, and it's a 5-round fight. He knows it could go the distance. Costa could gas out. I don't know.
Very true.
I don't know.
That frame, those muscles, they take a lot of oxygen. So
yes, and Vettori comes in southpaw. So, a couple of kicks to the liver could change the ball game. I don't know. But my random pick is going to be Marvin Vettori for this one.
Yes.
So Mystic Chips and Superhuman Kamra are going to go for the same one. The Italian Dream, Marvin Vettori.
Yes,
Ladies and gentlemen, you make your pick. Tag us, hashtag us for some really exciting gifts. Yes, our gifts are ready. They're waiting to be shipped.
Yes.
So please make your picks. Tag us, hashtag us. We've got t-shirts, we've got fridge magnets, we have mugs coming in, we have caps coming in, we have exciting guests coming in.
And if this deal in Dubai goes down, we'll have a Lamborghini coming in.
The guests are not going to come to your house. They're not going to be shipped, but the gifts are. So guys, make your pick, have fun, have a conversation with us.
And tag us.
Tag us on
What's
all
your tag?
platforms.
What's your tag, Mr. Kamra?
On Instagram, it's somesh.kamra. Very simple. Somesh.kamra. On Twitter, it's somesh_kamra. It's as simple.
See, it's too simple. So for me, on Twitter, it's the Mystic Chips. And on Instagram, it's at Arjun Chips. But guys, tag us, hashtag the Fighting Goat. Whenever you make your picks for your chance to be chosen for all of the gifts that Mr. Kamra has just mentioned, you got a great chance because now we're in a very Dayalu mood. And not to mention, Diwali is right around the corner. So you might have these surprises, a lot of dhamakas. Are you ready for that time as well? But that being said, it is so happy to be, I'm happy to be in Dubai, but I can't wait to get back home to the studios and the offices of the IVM Podcast Network. I will see you guys next week from Amchi, Mumbai with Mr. Kamra and the entire crew at ivmpodcast.com. Don't stop listening to your favorite podcast. and always stay tuned to the Fighting G.O.A.T.
What if you could relive some of the biggest and most public feuds in Indian corporate history?
Peer back through the window of time to see who among HUL or Nirma stood on top.
Or who was more dominant between Tata Motors and Maruti Suzuki?
Tune in with me, Ambi Parmeshwaran,
And me, Anupam Gupta, on Bank of Baroda presents The Last Brand Standing,
where we talk about two brands vying for the top position.
and what their journeys were,
Every Tuesday on the IVM Podcast app or website.
or wherever you get your podcast from.
Habits? Routines? How exactly do they help us get better? Well, to simplify it for you, tune in to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashton Doctor and I'm going to be here to help you get better daily with some simple, easy to do habits that you can easily adapt to your life. So tune in to the Habit Coach podcast from Monday to Friday because I believe that awesome lives start with awesome habits.